Big news in the F1 world. Charles Leclerc is not happy with Ferrari's latest move. They've swapped out his race engineer right before the big race at Imola. Can you imagine the chaos this might cause? Leclerc's not holding back and has something to say about it, so let's dive into this video today to know what's got him so fired up. Race engineers play a crucial role in Formula One, much more important than we might realize. They are the driver's only connection when they're racing at speeds over 200 miles per hour. Over time, special bonds have formed between drivers and their race engineers. For instance, Max Verstappen and Gianpiero Lambiase are like childhood buddies. Lewis Hamilton and Bono share an iconic radio phrase, "Hammer time," that fans will always remember. Charles Leclerc had a strong connection with his former engineer, Xavi Marcos. We've heard unforgettable radio messages from Marcos and Leclerc's passionate reactions, like the famous box now for hard, stay out incident at the Monaco GP. Leclerc's plea to Marcos, "Xavi, you need to tell me that before," will forever be etched in the memories of fans. Now, Xavi Marcos has been replaced by Brian Bozzi, another Ferrari engineer who will take over as Charles Leclerc's race engineer. This change marks a new chapter in Leclerc's journey, and fans eagerly await the new dynamics between Leclerc and Bozzi on the radio during races. Decision to replace the race engineer. After the Miami Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc clarified that he had no role in the decision to change his race engineer. Ferrari announced a reorganization last week, revealing that Xavier Marcos would no longer serve as Leclerc's race engineer. Instead, Brian Bozzi, previously Leclerc's performance engineer, assumed the role. Despite this significant change to his team, Leclerc remains confident that it won't affect his performance on the track. He anticipates no disruption to his on-track performance despite the shift in his entourage. Ferrari's decision to implement a mid-season race engineer change is uncommon. The last time such a change occurred was during the 2006 European Grand Prix, when Rob Smedley replaced Gabriele Delicoli as Felipe Massa's race engineer. This rarity has sparked curiosity about Ferrari's motivations for the change, especially given Leclerc's statement that he was not involved in the decision-making process. Motorsport.com asked Charles Leclerc about the reason behind the race engineer change and the risk involved amidst fierce competition with McLaren and Red Bull. Leclerc explained that the decision was made by the team in collaboration with Xavier Marcos, his former race engineer. He was informed about the decision right after the Miami Grand Prix. He said, "Obviously it's very tight in the front, and everything makes a difference. However, the decision was made between the team and Xavi. They've had other plans in mind, I guess. It was communicated to me right after Miami." Further, he said, "Having said that, Brian, who will take the role of Xavi from now onwards, is a person I have been working with since I arrived at Ferrari. He's always been my performance engineer, so he knows exactly how everything works. It's not like I'm starting from zero and it's going to be a complete adaptation." Charles Leclerc expressed confidence in the transition, stating, "It's been super smooth until now, and I'm sure that it will continue that way. We will be at our 100% already from this weekend." Despite the change, he anticipates no disruptions to their performance. Team principal Fred Vasseur shed light on the decision to change engineers. He explained that Brian Bozzi had been with Leclerc for a significant period and had a strong technical collaboration with him. Vasseur emphasized the importance of continuous improvement, stating, "He was with Charles for a long time, and they have a very good technical collaboration. They rate each other very highly. I think it was also the normal step for Brian, and you know that we are in a kind of continuous improvement. We were thinking that Brian was a step forward for us, and at the end of the day, we are fighting for thousandths of a second." He further said, "If you have the feeling that you have something a bit better somewhere, it's always good to go for it and not to say let's stay like we are. I'm really convinced that Brian is very good. He has experience of the car and the experience of the crew. He knows everybody in the team, and the adaptation will be very easy." Vasseur firmly believes that Bozzi's expertise will contribute positively to Ferrari's performance, especially in the intensely competitive environment where every fraction of a second matters. No communication issue. A race engineer plays a crucial role during a race weekend as they are in constant communication with the driver during sessions, aiding them through matters ranging from managing car settings to navigating traffic. Despite Leclerc often being heard voicing frustration over the team radio to his previous engineer, he denied there was a communication issue with Marcos. "I think communication has always been a big thing since we worked with Xavi," Leclerc said. "We always try to communicate as much as possible. This is how I work to have the best picture overall. As I said, we'll focus on having the smoothest transition possible and then on the things that matter to us. I don't think it was a particular problem in the past." Leclerc's new race engineer. Ahead of Imola, Leclerc changed race engineer after Xavier Javi Marcos Padros changed roles. Marcos Padros, who worked with Leclerc since 2019, became a hit with F1 fans for his "we are checking" responses on the team radio. Brian Bozzi is the Monegasque driver's new engineer and Johannes Hatz is his performance engineer. "It's always very tricky whenever you change, especially in the middle of the season," said Leclerc. "There were lots of new things that he had to get up to speed to. I also had Johannes, who was my performance engineer, who was new on track. I had two people on my team that were new in their roles, which was quite difficult at the beginning, but they've done an incredible job and it went really well. Now we'll work on that and try to improve, but it's a good start." Who is Charles Leclerc's new race engineer, Brian Bozzi? What was his previous role at Ferrari? Xavi Marcos has been Charles Leclerc's race engineer since Leclerc joined Ferrari. Changing the race engineer might affect Leclerc a bit. We saw this happen earlier this season when Valtteri Bottas's engineer was changed. Bottas struggled with traffic on the track and wasn't getting updates on the radio when he needed them. But now Brian Bozzi will take over as Leclerc's race engineer, starting from the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Bozzi is from Italy and has been with the Ferrari team for over 10 years. He studied mechanical engineering at the University of Bath. Bozzi began working with Ferrari in June 2012 as a wind tunnel R&D engineer. He spent over 2 years in that role before being promoted to an aero track group engineer in December 2014. After working hard for 4 years, Bozzi became a racing engineer for the Ferrari F1 team. During this time, he also served as Leclerc's performance engineer. Now he's moving up to become Leclerc's race engineer. Ferrari announced Bozzi's new role about a week before the Imola Grand Prix. They said, "Brian Bozzi, who has worked in the team for 10 years, currently as performance engineer to Charles Leclerc, will now take on the role of his race engineer as from next weekend's Gran Premio del Marde in Italy and dell'Emilia-Romagna at Imola." What happened to Charles Leclerc's former race engineer, Xavi Marcos? It might seem like Xavi Marcos left Ferrari's F1 team due to other offers, given the current F1 market and the ongoing driver shuffling. However, Ferrari decided to shift Marcos to different projects within the company, away from F1. They believe his F1 experience will be beneficial for these new projects. In a social media post, Ferrari highlighted how Marcos's expertise will greatly contribute to these endeavors. Xavi Marcos had been Charles Leclerc's race engineer since Leclerc joined Ferrari. Although Leclerc and Marcos respected each other, there were tense moments, especially when Ferrari's strategy calls went wrong. Before Frédéric Vasseur took over, Ferrari was known for its strategic errors. Despite any past challenges, Charles Leclerc bid farewell to Xavi Marcos and expressed gratitude for their time together. Leclerc shared a picture with Marcos on Instagram, thanking him for their shared achievements. Leclerc reminisced about their journey, from Leclerc's first pole position and victory to his debut year at Ferrari. He acknowledged Marcos's unwavering dedication and wished him luck in his future endeavors. Leclerc's Instagram post read, "Grazie mille di tutto Xavi. So many years working together, my first pole, my first win and my first year in Ferrari were alongside you, and you always got the better out of me by pushing so hard no matter the situation we were in. Thank you for everything and good luck for your new adventures in the future." So what do you think of Charles Leclerc's furious response to Ferrari's hidden agenda? Comment below and subscribe for more.